Let it run.
Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Let's get ready to rumble! Seattle's got to make a stop. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to throw it back to Goff! Who had that on the bingo card? Touchdown Lions!
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What is up, everyone? It is Main Event Mike. Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That means it's time for the Main Event Football Show. Yesterday was Armed Forces Day, so we're wearing our Salute to Service Lions cap today. Thank you, everyone, for being here, which is nobody at the moment, but this will be played on a replay throughout the week, and we appreciate everyone who's watching either live or on the recorded version. We're broadcasting live into the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV and Fire Stick TV. We are also broadcasting live into the 360 Radio Network. Go to the 360radionetwork.com. They got some awesome music there. If you like good rock and roll, a lot of Michigan-made rock and roll that they have in there as well. And they also broadcast our show. So big thanks to the P&A Podcast Express for letting us be on their network also. Also, don't forget, there is our Facebook page we're broadcasting live into, the Main Event Facebook page. Here's what it looks like with a picture of previous coaches, including Matt Patricia, there 2018 to 2000. One of my favorites. And we are also broadcasting live into the Motor City Kneecap Biters, the Facebook and the YouTube page. Big thanks to Smoke and Jeremy B for letting us broadcast in there as well. So we are 5 days removed from the schedule release. And I have broken it down. I know you have broken it down. Every podcaster in the land has broken it down. My show's once a week on a Monday. This is the closest Monday to the schedule release. So I am now going to break it down for you. And I want you to join me. Please put your comments in. This is an interactive show. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your opinions. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through this Lions schedule. And we are going to predict how many wins. But we're going to do it a little different than some of the other people do. And we're also going to take a look at all the other schedules in the NFC North to not only predict our record, but predict how this division is going to shake out in 2025. Let's take a look at the comments, what we got right now. It's our good friend Davey. Good evening, One Pride. Donkey Kong in the house. Brad Holmes, the best GM in the world. This side of Philadelphia for sure. Ken Ballreich in the house. Good evening, sir. And Austin in the house as well. Good evening, Austin. So let's take a look now at this Detroit Lions schedule. Here it is, 2025 schedule. Everybody's seen it. And we're going to do it a little bit differently now. I'd like you to comment on anything that I say or your opinion on. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. We're just going to filter out all of the division games because a lot of times, as you know, when it's a division game, you can throw the records out the window. There's no point in hashing, oh, I think we beat Green Bay here and then they beat us there or vice versa. Let's just predict what you think the Lions will do in the division. I think the Lions are going to go 5-1 in the division this year. I think they'll only lose one game. To who? Doesn't matter. Because when you look at the totality of the schedule, how many games, win and loss, did you get in the division is what matters. And I think the Lions go 5-1. So if you want to, we're going to skip over the division games. Whether they lose week 1 or win week 1 in Green in week 3 against Baltimore Ravens on the road. But before we do that, we're going to bring in a friend of ours. He's an independent filmmaker, and he's also the host of a new show on the NFL show. Can you hear me? All right. Welcome to the show. How are you? So, Chad,
Hey, there we go.
are we good now?
Yeah.
Great. So I'm going to put this graphic up again in the schedule, Chad. What do you think the Lions are going to do in division? 6 division games, of course, one at home, one on the road against all 3 opponents. What do you think the final record of the division is going to be?
Well, we discussed this prior, and we're going to not spend a lot of time on it. But at the most, I see 4-2. At the least, I see 3-3. You can say how as good as we did last year, but we almost lost to Green Bay. We almost lost to Minnesota. We almost lost to Chicago twice last year, like final second kind of stuff. I say 4-2, and I think that'll be the best record in the North.
Yeah, it's a tough division. They're going to bleed each other out. We know Chicago's a lot better. All the teams in the division are better than they were last year. I don't think any of these teams took a step back. I think Green Bay did less than the other 3 to make themselves better. But you could say that about every single year that Green Bay, they don't make big free agent signings and they don't, do these big splash moves. They draft and they develop and they always do a great job of it. So I'm not going to take anything away from the Packers this year. I think all 4 teams really strong coming in. Definitely Chicago going to be the most improved. They have the most room for improvement. So I think they're definitely going to be the most improved. We're going to look at their schedules as well. But first, we're going to look at this Lions schedule. Chad thinks 4-2 in the division. I think 5-1 in the division. Put it in the comments. I want to know what you think the division record is going to be. And from there, we can then start to look at this schedule. So whether they win or lose weeks 1 and 2, right? 1 on the road, 1 at home. You got Ben Johnson coming into Ford Field. I definitely think the Lions win that one. So let's start on week 3 on the road against Baltimore Ravens. I'll start with you on this one, Chad. Lions win or lose this?
They lose it.
Chad's got them as a loss. I also think that they will lose this game.
I have us at 2-1 right now.
Last time the Lions played in Baltimore, they lost 38-6 in 2023. Throttled. They had no answer for Lamar Jackson. When the play would break down, he would extend the play, keep it alive, and the Lions just could not cover long enough. That game was brutal when it come to the pass rush. The Lions had no pass rush in that game. And that just allowed Lamar to create back there and just do as he pleased. The game was over by halftime, if you guys remember. Now, do I think Baltimore is that much better of a team than us? I do not. But I do think that the losses have to come from somewhere. You're not going to go 17-0 in today's NFL. And this is a good spot for me to chalk up a loss for the Lions.
And
So I also have a loss there.
You're playing a top defense on the road.
You are. And now, you know what? Who else they have now is DeAndre Hopkins out on the outside. One of the best 50-50 ball receivers this league has ever seen. And they only got better. And they drafted well, as always. They're going to be very tough. And they got the home field advantage. I could see this one going to be a lot closer than 38-6, however. But I'm still going to give the Lions the loss in the loss column for me. So that's 2 in the loss column and 5 in the win column for me because of the division record. For Chad, he has 4. And then he has 3. Okay, moving on. Let's see if anybody else in the comments has an opinion on this. Austin says he could see 5-1 in the division. Right. We're the best team on paper. Our roster up and down, Austin, winning 5 games out of 6 is realistic. We won all of them last year, 6-0. And what were we the year before? 5-1, with the only loss coming in Thanksgiving to Green Bay.
We're 17-7 in the Dan Campbell era.
Good.
3 losses to the Bears, 2 losses to Green Bay, 2 losses to Minnesota in the Dan Campbell era.
Ricky is in the house. What is up? Good to see you. Dan Leonard, he's a Vikings fan. We're going to talk about that, Dan. Vikings voted Giants. Dan Von Doom is a Giants fan. And the Giants were credited with the hardest schedule, which seems odd. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. They came in last in their division. But yet they have the rated hardest schedule in the NFL this year. We're
They
definitely
have to play every North team, Mike. They have to play every team in the North.
Okay, and that definitely factors.
They have to play 2 in their division.
Yeah,
so,
right. You got the Commanders and the Eagles, and then they got to play the NFC North, like you say, Chad. That's a great call out. There's half your games right there. So, by proxy of that, they get rated the hardest schedule in the NFL. Going to be an uphill battle for them. They have too many quarterbacks on their roster right now. It's going to be very interesting to see if Jameis Winston gets the boot or if Jackson Dart gets the practice squad. Austin says getting divisional games out of the way early. Right. Why rehash it? Why rehash it? What do you think they're going to do in the division is what really matters, whether they win this game or lose that game. Let's take a look at these other games because the division's always a gauntlet. Davey says 5-1. Good evening, Dwayne, in the comments. Grit never backs down. Austin says, I think the Ravens game is going to be a dogfight. We are facing a top 10. You got doggone right, a top 10 in just about every category. These are the 2 number 1 offenses from 2024, Detroit and Baltimore. It's going to be a shootout, folks. Let's move on to the next game. And by the way, that is a primetime game, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
That is
Ravens
a Monday night football game in week 3.
Right, we got Ravens, and who else do we got on Monday night?
The other Monday night game is Tampa Bay week 7. And then we have some Thursdays as well.
Don't we have
week 4 is Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, we are at home against Cleveland. Talk about too many quarterbacks. They have 5 quarterbacks. The team with the 2 top picks in the draft are sitting right now with 8 quarterbacks between them.
Talk about my guaranteed win of the season is Cleveland. 100%. I would bet right now. Put $1,000 right now. Lions don't even take the points. Straight up.
Well, that's not that big of a leap when you consider the Lions were 15-2 and the Cleveland Browns were dog water all year last year, come in with the 2nd overall pick. One of the worst teams in the league.
Mike, that's a good line.
But anything can happen in the NFL, my friend, so be careful before you go giving your money away. So I guess that means you're giving that one a win.
Yeah.
You got that as a win. I also have that as a win. Next one's not so easy. Cincinnati Bengals on the road October 5th. What do you like there, Chad?
We lose to Cincinnati.
At Cincy, you give it a loss?
Yeah, no, it's just because I do. I
don't think they have enough defense to stop us, and we do have enough defense to stop them. I'm going to give the Lions the victory here against Cincinnati.
Well, then you got the officials.
The officials. Speaking of the officials, it's the Kansas City Chiefs the following week.
I think we got that.
You think that's a win for the Lions?
Yep. Yes, I do. Yes, sir.
I'm going to give that as a loss for the Lions. Mm-hmm. I think that we beat them the last time we played them. Chris Jones wasn't there. They did not like the way we beat them in their house on the night that they raised their Super Bowl banner.
So
they didn't come back and win the Super Bowl that year. But I think that Andy Reid is a little bit more prepared this time. The Lions aren't going to sneak up on anyone anymore.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I got us losing to the Bengals. You got us winning. I got us winning to the Chiefs. You got us losing. Correct?
No, correct. To the Chiefs, yeah.
All right. Let's bet $5 on that.
No, I'm a recovered gambling addict, so I don't gamble. Okay. Week 7 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We face these guys every year. Face them in the playoffs as well. Quite familiar with this team. This game is at home. I think the Lions get it done. I'm going to give them the win against the Buccaneers. This one's a tough one. What do you think, Chad?
This ain't a tough one. This is going to be the game we score 60 points in.
And we avenge last year's loss. One of the
Yep.
only teams to beat the
Yep.
Lions last year.
The
The Tampa Bay
game.
Buccaneers.
Yep.
You think they are?
This
are gonna
game,
take
they're
it to it.
done.
I think it's gonna be a lot closer than that. And then it's the
I'm
bye week.
kidding.
Then it's the
60
bye
points.
week in week 8. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, 60 points is ridiculous, but I think we beat them by like double digits.
What I mean, is that more about what the Lions do well or about how bad you think Tampa is?
No, I think it's more about how pissed they are how that game went last year.
Last year, we beat them up and down the field. We outgained them in total yards.
We
We
outperformed
had more
them.
first downs. We
home.
outplayed them the entire game, but Baker Mayfield made some crucial scrambles when it mattered the most.
Do you find it
Yeah.
odd they're playing at Detroit 2 years in a row?
Mm.
Road game? Isn't that kind of odd? Why didn't they?
Right, and then the year before that, we played them in Tampa when Craig Reynolds made the block on Carlton Davis to spring Amon-Ra for a touchdown. An incredible play. Probably solidified Craig's place on the team for a couple of years with just one play with that one. In the comments, what do we got here?
Didn't we have a pack
by
running
Austin,
back?
Healthy Hutch going to make things uncomfortable for Lamar Jackson, but mobile QB always seem to be our Achilles heel, and especially the Ravens will be at home. Did you have something to say?
Didn't we have Jamal Williams for that game? That game we beat them barely the year before they beat us.
I don't know what you're talking about. Donkey
Yeah,
Kong
we
says 12 wins and 5 losses for the whole season. Austin agrees with me. We're going to beat Cincinnati. What makes you think the Cincinnati's going to beat us? Because Joe Burrow is just that good. He's not mobile. He's a little athletic, but he's not nothing that's going to
Rob
beat you.
has 2 bad games a year, and I picked this to be one of his bad games.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's good. And also, this game will be outdoors. And we know Goff does not play well outdoors historically. Goff is 3-0 versus Kansas City, and you know that narrative goes around a whole lot, Austin.
That's why I got the Lions winning, Mike. Because
Patrick Mahomes has heard that narrative over and over.
Goff, and he's going to try too hard, and he's going to mess up. And Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and DJ Reed are going to make him pay.
I hope you're
with
right.
all the sacks he gets from Aiden Hutchinson and DJ Reader.
Donkey Kong thinks 12-5. And to your point, Donkey Kong says, not sure which games we win or lose. And that's how I'm treating the division games. You have to play those games every year. I don't need to go through each one. But you say, without going through each one, it's going to be 12-5 at the end of the year. Well, we're going to see what we add up here on ours. Dwayne thinks maybe the refs will get the best of us in week 6 against the Chiefs. All right. So we get the bye week in week 8, much better than last year when we have week 5. We had the bye week with super early bye week. Now we get like probably the most optimal bye week you can get right in the dead middle of the season. And you come back after the bye at home against the Minnesota Vikings, the team that finished second in the NFC North last year. What do you think about this one, Chad? Minnesota, first game of the year against the Lions at home in week 9.
Well, I can hardly hear you, but I do believe we win the home game versus Minnesota this year.
All right. Oh, that's right. That's a divisional game. We already picked that. Good call out. Washington.
And Washington. Let's jump to Washington. I believe we lose again.
Wow.
I know I do. I believe we lose again.
I think we unequivocally we're going to win this game. Wash that taste out of our mouth from last year. Jaden Daniels might have that sophomore slump. He's not going to be sneaking up on anyone anymore. Tough call out. Chad thinks we lose to the Commanders. I think we beat them. And then week 11, it's the world champs. How you like to come off of playing Washington, and then you got to go right to Philly.
I like it because we're pissed off because we lost to the team that knocked us out of the playoffs, and we just stomped Philly.
You think we beat Philly?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we stomp them because we're mad because Washington beat us, and they knocks us out of the playoffs. Yeah.
I say we lose to Philly.
Okay. Well, at least we're consistent, Mike.
Yeah. And I like this because you'll see when I make my picks going down the stretch here. Put in the comments. We want to know what you think. Are we going to beat Philly? Are we going to beat Washington? Are we going to avenge that loss from last year and then roll back-to-back in the NFC East on the road and play Philly? I got a split in this game, this series. Chad's got a split in this series, but it just happens to be flip-flop. We stay in the NFC East for Week 12, so here's a 3-week stretch of the NFC East, and we get the New York Giants, who by Week 12, I expect Jackson Dart will probably be starting because they probably lost so many games. Dan, we want to know what you think. Leonard, put it in there. You think the Lions, Giants, you think the Giants come into Ford Field and beat us? This is going to be a respite for the Lions. This is going to be a be able to take a breath after facing Minnesota, Washington, Philly. Hell, look at this gauntlet that the Lions have to play. When you win your division, this is your reward. You get a division winner's schedule. You've already played the Ravens, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Bucks. Then you get the Vikings, the Commanders, Philly, all playoff teams. And then you get the Giants. No way the Giants sneak up and beat us here. I've given that a win. What do you got?
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah.
Well, there's
when you
no
try to interrupt me and just talk through
there's
you
no
like you're not
absolute
talking.
way. The Giants go down, and they go down hard like they're going to do most of the season. Definite win. That might be my lock of the season.
Right.
For a guaranteed win. Yeah.
Okay. So, again, you're not going out of there on a big limb thinking that the Lions are going to beat them. Will they cover the spread will be the real question.
No.
If you're going to make a lock. And we'll talk about that as we get closer to the date of that game. Week 13. Green Bay Packers coming into Ford Field. Definitely going to win this. I think we're going to sweep Green Bay this year. What about you? Oh, it's another divisional game, which we've already predicted.
No, it's also on Thanksgiving, Mike. And
that's right. You think this is
Green Bay wins this one? Like I told you, Detroit wins the first one in Green Bay to start the season. Green Bay wins this one. Okay. Green Bay's good. We can't take that from them.
All right. Well, you got us going 4-2 in the division, and this is one of the losses that you have. And you also think Minnesota's going to get us one of those games. So you think we're going to sweep the Bears?
Yep.
All right. I like it. Next is Week 14, and finally the Dallas Cowboys come to our building after going to their building for 4 years in a row. They will come to our building, and I got the Lions winning out, my friend. This is definitely a win for the Lions. They did not do enough in the offseason, Dallas, to help themselves. They let Rico Dowdle walk. They brought in Javonte Williams. They didn't draft a running back in the early rounds. And Zach Martin retired. They also lost another interior offensive lineman. I just don't think Dak is coming into Ford Field and going to figure it out, especially with a first-year head coach. This is one of the few teams in the NFL that got worse over the offseason, in my opinion, just based on letting Mike McCarthy walk out for a first-time head coach in Schottenheimer. What do you got with Dallas coming to Ford Field?
Well, I believe Dallas and the Giants are going to be fighting for last place. I've got the Lions all day winning this game, hands down.
All right. Dwayne's with me. Week 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All the way to 18. That's what I think, too. I think you're going to win out. They lose to Philly in Week 11. They don't lose again until next year. And they hoist the Lombardi Trophy. That's my prediction. LA Rams, again. This time, we go to their building, Week 15. Matt Stafford may be hurt by Week 15. Who you got in this one, Chad?
If Stafford's healthy, it's a Matt Stafford revenge tour at home. So that's what it depends on. If Stafford's healthy, Rams. If not, Lions. And I've got to be honest, dude. It's a revenge tour, right?
Yeah. I like it. So I'm giving
So
you,
it's
I'm
hard to
chalking it
predict
as a win.
a
We
week.
have to assume right now that he's going to be healthy.
Right, and that's if he's healthy, yeah, no, he's gonna like, yeah, and he's got the his whole fan base. He's in LA. He's got the yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. Matt Stafford, Lions going out to play LA. You know that whole Rams team from 2023 has a bad taste in their mouth. And from last year to open the season, Lions won the last two against these guys. Goff against his old team, Stafford against his old team. This rivalry, you could honestly play it every year, and I'd be okay with that. Week 16, Pittsburgh Steelers come to town. I think you know where I stand. Lions are winning out. Let's hear your prediction on the Steelers coming to Ford Field.
Well, it's hard to make a prediction. We don't even know who the quarterback is, but the more I think about it, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Lions all day.
Let's assume it's Aaron Rodgers.
Lions all day. Kirby Joseph is his daddy.
Kirby Joseph gets a Father's Day card from Aaron Rodgers every year. All right, so Chad, let me mark that in the win column for you. Week 17 against the Vikings on Christmas Day. This was going to be on Netflix, so everyone gets to watch. You can get a free trial on Netflix. Everyone's going to get to watch this one. People say, I don't have Netflix. Netflix will give it to you free, like the drug dealer on the schoolyard for a while.
Well, if you're in Detroit, you're getting it anyway. Or if you're in Michigan, you'll get it on local. It's the out-of-staters that have to get Netflix.
Right. So this one's on the road. Who do you like?
Dude, it's Christmas, man.
Wait, it's another division game. Who cares? We're
right,
done.
It's Christmas, so even if I pick this as a loss, I'm changing my mind. Aiden Hutchinson's going to give us a Merry Christmas, and he's going to sack that J.J. McCarthy like 7 times.
All right. So the final scores are in. Chad has us going 12-5, 4-2 in the division. I have us going 13-4 and 5-1 in the division. So a lot of people out there picking the Lions to win 9 games, 10 games, assuming that there's going to be a fall off. And they have a lot of good reason for that. This schedule is really tough. And that usually, and the teams in our division did get better. You can't expect to keep owning the division the way we have. So 4-2, 3-3 in the division is a real possibility, which could bring the total losses up.
Well, Mike, you going to do the Bear fans like that?
What's that?
You ended on the Vikings. The last game of the year is with the Bears.
Because they're both divisional games, Chad. We had already just picked our record in the division.
I know. I mean, that's going to be a tough one.
Well, I'll put it back up here for you to get one good dig in on them Bear fans.
Dude, they can't wait for their new stadium. They hate the frozen ground.
Yeah. Who wants to play in a parking lot?
Exactly. The Packers.
So we're gonna do these schedules in the order that they finished last year in the 2024. So that means the Minnesota Vikings are up. So we're not going to pick game by game on this one, Chad. We're just going to take a look at their schedule and kind of scan it over and make a record prediction for the Minnesota Vikings. I'll give you an example, and I'll go first. We'll break it down into chunks for the Vikings. They got the Bears, the Falcons, the Bengals, and the Steelers in those 4 games there.
I got 8 losses.
What's that?
I got 8 losses. For sure.
All right. Well, we're taking it in 4. Well, I'm not sure if you realize how this works, is that I call out how it's going to go, and then it goes that way. So I'm going to go first. We'll take them in chunks. The first 4 games, the Bears, Atlanta, Bengals, and the Steelers. J.J. McCarthy's going to be starting. I think they lose 3 of those games, and they'll be 1-3 in the first 4 games. What do you think about the first 4 games for the Vikings?
I've got them at 1-3 with you.
Just like I do.
My loss is to the Bengals.
Okay, well,
And
that's
to
a
the
home.
Falcons,
That's a home. So they're definitely going to lose
to
both
the
of the road
Steelers.
games. Rookie
Yep.
quarterback on the road is going to lose both. And then one of those he's going to win. It's probably going to be
wins the
Atlanta.
Bears.
And look, there's a storyline built in there, too. The Vikings, Michael Penix Jr. versus J.J. McCarthy in week 2, and that'll be a rematch of the national championship from 2023. Penix, of course, for the Washington Huskies. So we both got him going 1-3 in the first 4 games. Where are my Viking fans at? What are you guys thinking here? Davey says 12-5 and a Super Bowl. Dwayne says 12 to 15 wins for the Lions this year. Thank you very much, folks. So through the first 4 games, Chad and I both got the Vikings at 1-3. The next 4 games, or 4 weeks, I should say, would be Cleveland, the bye, Philadelphia, and the Chargers. So only 3 games there to choose from. I think they're going to beat Cleveland, and they're going to lose the other 2. So I give them a 1-2. What do you got for them in the next 4 weeks with the bye?
If I with the bye, which we should have just got rid of it, I've got them at 1-1. I've got them at 1-2, or they could win 2 possibly.
You think they could beat the Chargers? You think they could beat the Chargers in LA?
Hard to say on that. The Chargers a toss-up for me.
Well, here's another storyline built in: Jim Harbaugh versus J.J. McCarthy. When that game happened, that game coming up on Thursday Night Football on the 23rd of October. Going to be very good. I think Harbaugh definitely is going to win that game. Philly's definitely going to win that game. He's a rookie quarterback, so the bye week isn't going to beat him. But the Cleveland Browns are going to. Myles Garrett could even beat him, but I'm going to go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt for a win there. But you got him.
So I'm going 3-1, counting the bye. The Vikings win the bye. They beat the Browns. They beat the Chargers.
So that'd be 2-1.
That.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
No, it's actually 2-1, but they won the bye.
Right. So next little chunk of games would be Detroit in Ford Field, and then home against the Ravens, home against the Bears, and in Lambeau for the 4th game. So they're going to lose Detroit and Green Bay, and I say they lose to Baltimore, and they beat the Bears because they'll be in their own building. So I'll give them 1-3 in the next chunk.
You can mark me 1-3 and the exact same picks. They lose to the Bears at home. They beat the Bears. The Bears lose at their home.
Broski Bear with a good call out. Welcome to the chat, Broski. J.J. McCarthy returns to his hometown week 1. That's added pressure on him. Another built-in storyline for the...
Right. He's going to have all kinds of fans. You're right.
Now, you know how the NFL goes any given Sunday. These games we think the Lions are going to dominate, they'll probably lose. And the ones we peg them to lose, they'll probably win. So it's a fun exercise, though. Storylines abound for J.J. McCarthy in the Vikings so far as we go through this. Next chunk would be at Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold and the Vikings. Another storyline built in for the Vikings. Then they'll be home against the Washington Commanders. And then they finish up this set on the road in the NFC East against Dallas and against the Giants. I think they're going to win 2 of these. I'll give them 2-2 in this stretch.
I again agree with you. 2-2.
What do you got?
2-2.
2-2.
Yep, they're gonna beat Dallas, and they're gonna beat the
Okay.
Giants.
You think they're going to win in Dallas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Then the last 2 games of the year, Minnesota gets to finish at home against Detroit and Green Bay. Who you got?
You might as well start resting your players. Let it move off. They're done.
I can see you and hear you.
They're done. The Vikings are done the last 2 games. They're done.
There's what?
They're done. They won't win.
They're going to lose both of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no faith in JJ. You have to have a quarterback.
And I'm going to give them a split there.
No way.
So the grand total is Mike thinks the Vikings will win 6 games, and Chad thinks the Vikings will win 6 games. Now, Vikings fans, don't despair. Peyton Manning won 6 games his first year. Aaron Rodgers won 6 games his first year. He's a rookie quarterback. He's got a great team around him. Got a great defense around him as well. Chad and I both have the Vikings winning 6 games.
And the Vikings proved everybody wrong last year by winning 14 games. We all have to admit that.
No doubt about it. We all picked him last. And Brian Flores is most underrated coordinator. I mean, with the job that guy does. But I'm not sure that they got a lot better on defense. They did help themselves on the offense tremendously, especially on the offensive line. Getting 2 Pro Bowl caliber players from the Indianapolis Colts and bringing over Drew Dahlman, center from the Atlanta Falcons. That was a great pickup for them. And then they got Christian Darrisaw and O'Neal on each end. So they really upgraded the offensive line. But did they do enough on defense to offset having a rookie quarterback taking his lumps? I think J.J. McCarthy's really good. I'm not a hater on him. I didn't think he was good enough to be the 10th overall pick, though. And as a diehard Michigan fan, I just didn't think he had that skill set yet, hadn't developed that skill set yet.
Mike, what was J.J. McCarthy good at? I'm trying to think. Championship year. Did he have 3 games that he threw over 200 yards? I don't think he did. I could be wrong.
He won. That's what he was good at. He was good at winning, Chad.
Huh?
He was good at winning.
He was good at handing the ball off, and the defense was unstoppable.
Well, he was a winner. When he had to throw the ball, he did a good job, and he won them games. He hit big plays when it mattered. He extended plays with his legs. The talent's off the charts.
Okay.
It translates to the NFL. We'll have to wait and see.
J.J. McCarthy, welcome to the NFL. We'll see your first pass in NFL history in your first game, unless you get injured before the season starts again.
Don't even put that out there in the universe.
You know, though, dude, he got injured before. He didn't throw 1 pass last year. He didn't play 1 snap last year.
Essentially, he's a rookie. Essentially, he is a rookie.
Unproven. I mean,
right.
I wish the guy the best. I hope he's a Tom Brady. I just don't see it.
Let's take a look real quick at the Green Bay Packers schedule. They open the season, their first 4 games at home against the Lions. Then they got the Commanders. Then they're so they got 2 home games to start the year. At Cleveland and at Dallas the next 2. I think they go 2-2 in those games. What's your prediction on this, Chad?
I thought you said 3-2. I thought there was only 4 games.
Your audio's going out.
Okay. I've got them starting.
Can't hear you, Chad.
I've got Green Bay starting 3-1, and then they start falling. They got an easy beginning. They lose to the Lions first game, and they win the next 3. That's what I got them.
Give me a number, Chad. Out of 4.
Out of 4?
I got them going 2-2.
3-1.
Okay. Next 4 games. We'll skip the bye like we should have last time. And they get the bye week in week 5. They get the early bye this year. This sucks for them. Then they get Cincinnati at home. They get Joe Burrow at home. Then they go on the road, get Arizona Cardinals, and at Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they get the Carolina Panthers at home, a gimme. I think, again, they go 2-2 in this stretch. What do you think, Chad?
I think 3-1.
Wow. Got a lot of faith. So already you have the Packers winning as many games as the Vikings will all year.
Yep.
Nice. Next little chunk of 4 there. A little breaking news from Dwayne. Isaac Tesla has signed his rookie contract. Welcome to the Pride, young man. Dwayne King thinks the Packers go 3-1 in that first 4 set. Moving on. Packers now are at home against the Eagles. How do they get the Eagles at home? That's what happens when you come in third in your division. We got to go to Philly, but they get the Eagles at home. Then they go at New York Giants, home against the Vikings, and at Ford Field. I'm going to give them 2-2 again in this 4-game stretch.
1-3, Mike.
Nice. Little hard times after the bye week, according to Chad, for the Green Bay Packers. Now we'll do a set of 5 to close them out, which is home against Chicago, at Denver, and then at Chicago. So they're playing the Bears 2 out of 3 weeks down the stretch. And then they get the Ravens at home and at the Vikings. So, I mean, these Packers, they get the Ravens and Philly in Lambeau at the end of the season. I'm going to give them a win there, and I would say they go 3-1 down the stretch. Actually, that's 3-2 because there's 5 on the last set here. Chad, we're running out of time, so give me your predictions for
Mike. So we're close.
We need 5 though.
I mean 4-1. I got them at
4-1.
Yep.
So you have the Green Bay Packers at 11-6.
Yep.
I have them at 9-8.
Okay.
Sorry, Steve, wherever you are. Let's take a look at the comments. Chad for 3-1 because I didn't hear him right. Thank you. Next, the team that finished last in the division last year gets to go last in our little exercise today. That is the Chicago Bears. First 4 games. Home against the Vikings, on the road to the Lions, home against the Cowboys, and on the road to the Raiders. I think that the Chicago Bears go 2-2 here. How about you, Chad?
2-2.
That's actually pretty good.
They beat the Raiders. They beat the Cowboys.
That's what I think as well. Then they get the early bye, just like the Packers. They're going to be, and then those 2 teams have to play each other 2 out of the last 3 weeks. They'll be just as ragged as each other because they haven't had a bye week since week 5. So let's take the next set starting in week 6 with the Commanders. They will be on the road in Washington. They'll be at home for New Orleans, and then on the road, Cincinnati and Baltimore. I'm going to give them 1-3 in this stretch.
I also give them 1-3, and they're beating.
So which one of those 4 do you think they win? Washington, New Orleans,
Saints,
Baltimore, or Cincy?
Saints.
They'll beat the Saints. I think so too. Had that game been away, I wouldn't be so sure. I mean, who knows? Saints could be one of the worst teams in the league this year. They have no answer at quarterback at this point. Moving on, next 4 games for the Bears. They'll be home for the Giants, on the road. Boy, we see this recurring a lot for the Bears. It's home, away, home, away, home, away. Home for the Giants, away for the Vikings, home for the Steelers, and away for the Eagles. I, again, am going to give them 2-2 here because I really believe that Ben Johnson's going to be a difference maker for them.
That's funny, Mike, and I got a different reason. I'm going 2-2 also. I don't think it's just Ben Johnson. I think we're familiar with the Bears, and, when they get in the second half of the season, some players tend to step up and things like that. And right. I truly believe they can win 2 of these 4 games. Probably Vikings and the Giants they'll beat.
Okay. And earlier when we were doing the Vikings, I said Drew Dahlman, center coming over from Atlanta. That was with Chicago, not Minnesota. So a little fix of a flub there. Drew Dahlman, I think, is a big acquisition for the Chicago Bears in the center of the offensive line. They also get Jonah Jackson on one side. And they picked up another guard, Joe Tooney from Kansas City Chiefs, on the other guard. And then they got Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright as the tackles. So they've improved that offensive line. There's some rumors now of Nick Chubb going to Chicago to improve the running game. They're all set at wide receiver. They know who their quarterback is. They have the best play caller around. So I think the Bears are going to win more games than they did last year. Finally, the last 5 games of the season. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, yeah, it'll be the last 4 games of the season, which is Cleveland Browns at home. They get the Packers at home. Then they go on the road to San Francisco, and then they play the Lions at home. So 3 out of the last 4, Chicago gets to play at their home stadium in the dead of winter. It's not going to go well for them. I'm going to give them 1-3 down the stretch, even though they have 3 home games.
2-2, buddy.
2-2. So for the Chicago Bears, Chad gives them 2, 4, 6, 7-10. I give them 6-11. So where I thought at the beginning of the year the Bears might get to 9 games, when I look at how this schedule is laid out, I am no longer as confident that they'll win 9 games.
For everybody in the North, Mike, it's brutal. It's like they're punishing us, dude.
Well,
they're punishing us for being good.
I think it goes back to what you said at the beginning of the program, where we've got to play in our own division, and our division is tough. I mean, you got to get through this division, which is a great segue into the next thing I want to talk about. Thanks, everyone, for participating in that. Even if you're watching on the replay, we go through and I read all that stuff. So put it in the comments. If you're watching this on a replay or listening on a podcast on a replay, head on over to our Facebook page, The Main Event. Put a comment on there. Let us know what you think the Lions' record will be. Next thing I want to talk about, Chad, is the owners' meeting coming up this week. Wednesday, in fact.
Yeah.
They will be voting on a few proposals that were submitted at the early spring meeting a couple of months ago and were tabled. We're going to get some finality on those issues this week. By the time this program airs again next Monday at 7 p.m., we will know the answer to what's going to happen with the push-tush. And we also are going to know whether the Lions' proposal to seed the playoff teams by their record, not whether you win the division. As it sits now, the top 4 seeds in the playoffs are the 4 division winners. Lions have proposed a rule change that would allow for seeding of the playoffs by your record. The 4 teams that win the division would still be automatically in the playoffs. They wouldn't lose out of a playoff bid. They just would lose out being able to get a home game just because they were a division winner.
I
want to hear your thoughts.
Mike, I support it. I think that it's not fair that the Vikings had to play an away game when they truly actually were the 3rd best team in the NFC.
Chad's having some technical difficulties.
And they shouldn't have had to play a game against a low
Hold on, Chad.
opponent.
You cut out, Chad. I'll start over. First, I want to know, are you for or against the rule change? And secondly, you're going to have to let me finish, bro. First of all, are you for or against? Well, hopefully he'll be back. That was Chad Datema. He's the host of the NFC North Open Mic. Sometimes tech hiccups happen. Personally, I'm not for this rule change, and I'll tell you why. Because Divisions matter. Oh, looks like we got Chad back. You back? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I had to. I couldn't hear you at all. Sorry.
Good deal. I'm glad you're back. So let's pick up where we left off. First of all, are you for or against the rule change?
I am totally for it. There's no reason. I believe every division winner deserves a playoffs, but I believe that the Vikings deserved a home game. And I'm not a Viking fan. And I believe that if it happened to the Lions, we'd feel the same way. Like, so, I
So-
believe all four division teams gets in and it gets seeded by record.
Okay, so you are for this rule change. I am against it. So I love that we're not aligned here. It makes for a more interesting conversation, obviously. And I'll tell you why I'm against it.
Okay.
Tell me, Chad, I know you're a big fan of other sports. What division do the Pistons play in?
The NFC East. Or I mean the East.
What division do the Denver Nuggets play in?
The West.
That's their conference. What division do they play in? No one really cares. No one gives a shit. That's my point, Chad. I'm not questioning whether you can or can't. My point is they did away with that a long time ago in the NBA. Now teams are seeded by their records, and whether you win the division or not doesn't matter at all. And now NBA fans can't even tell you what division their own team is in. They have taken away the division even mattering by doing this. And it does matter. And another good reason is take a look at the Lions the last 2 years. Last year, they played the AFC South. The year before that, they played the NFC South. They ran the table on both of those divisions.
Yep.
The league has ebb and flows, and sometimes there's an overall weak division, and sometimes there's an overall hard division. And winning your division should be the number one focus because it guarantees you will at least play one home game in the playoffs, regardless of your record. And that compensates for the ebbs and flows of an NFL season where you could have a weaker division. And now you're rewarding the Minnesota Vikings for beating up on the Tennessee Titans and the Colts and all these crappy teams they had to play last year to get.
And everybody but the Lions in the North. I mean, come on. No, what you're doing is you're diluting. You're diluting what should be there, in my opinion. Okay, the 9-8 Tampa Bay team does not deserve a home playoff game against any team that has 12 wins or above. They don't. They
won their division.
Yeah, and they played 6 games against other people that didn't make the playoffs and freaking sucked.
Okay, but they won their division.
So
do you know what? Do you know that they didn't always do it this way? They used to rotate who would get home field.
They should.
For example, the 1972 Miami Dolphins didn't lose a single game. They got there to this day. They're the only undefeated team to win a Super Bowl and go undefeated. They had to play a playoff game on the road. They went to Pittsburgh and won the game. So can you imagine being undefeated at the end of the regular season and you got to go on the road to play?
That's not how it'll work.
But my point is they changed it. They changed it to the model that we have now, and teams and everyone adjusted. And they added a little gravitas to a little gravity to winning your division. It means something. And and we are more vested in the Packers, the Bears, and the Vikings than we would be if we didn't have this divisional competition.
So say an AFC South is below 500, or an NFC South, because it wouldn't be AFC South. An NFC South team is below 500. They deserve a home playoff game because they won their division and everybody else sucks. That's all I'm asking.
Because they won their division. Absolutely. It's not their fault. It's not their fault, the division that they play in. And
it's their fault that they were below 500 and didn't win their other games. So
then why do we have divisions at all? And why do we have to play our division opponents 2 games? Why do we have to play 6 of our games against the same teams then? Take that right out too then.
No,
just have 2 conferences and you play every team, right? You get 17 games. There are 16 teams in each conference. So you play every team in your conference and 1 non-conference game. Why not? What's the point of the divisions at all if winning the division doesn't have a payoff?
No, it does. You make the playoffs. All we're saying is you're not guaranteed a home playoff game. If you win the division, you're automatically in.
So even if you're a 7 and 10 team,
if you win the division, you're in.
There would be a 13-win team that didn't even make the playoffs. But had they made the playoffs, they would have been seeded ahead of you.
I don't understand how you're. No, listen. So let's say the NFC South, say Atlanta or Tampa only win 7 games and they win the division. They're guaranteed in, but they don't deserve a home playoff game. They deserve to play the first top wild card team.
Okay. And there's obviously, it's whether you like chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream. There is no right or wrong answer. So now the last part of the question before we run out of time, Chad,
Yes.
Do you think that this will pass?
No, it will never pass.
But if it makes so much sense per your argument, why wouldn't it pass?
It does, dude. It's not gonna pass. It's not gonna pass. They're not gonna.
Okay. So Chad thinks it should pass, but it won't. I don't think it should pass, and I also do not think it will pass. That would require 24 of 32 owners voting in favor of it, and I just can't see you being able to convince 3/4 of any group of people on this to agree with you one way or the other. So I do not think it will pass also. That's all the time we have today. Thanks everyone who's been in the comments, especially Broski Bear. Were the Vikings really the 3rd best team in the NFC? They had the 3rd best record, but they weren't the 3rd best team. Thank you. Need to keep winning division meaningful. This is a lame proposal. Thank you. He agrees with me there. Bucks won their division and they beat the Lions in Detroit. Good point.
Yeah, and we only lost 2 games.
Yeah, but that contradicts your point from a minute ago. Why should the Bucks get that home playoff game when they beat a bunch of nobodies? But they also beat the Lions.
No, they had a better record than like 8-9 last year. They were like,
I think they won 10 games.
Yeah,
to win their division. But the point still stands. Keep the divisions meaningful. I think that little exercise of the NBA is a great example. Most people cannot name the divisions in the NBA, what teams are in them. Conversely, you can name every team in every division in the NFL because of the gravitas that division wins have in this league of pro football. We are officially out of time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chad, for being on the show. Be sure to check out Chad on Wednesday nights on the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV and Fire Stick. It's NFC North open mic. Wednesday nights at what time? 7 p.m. Eastern, Chad?
No, 6 Eastern, 5 Central.
6 Eastern, 5 Central. That's NFC North open mic on the Huddle. See you later, Chad. Thank you. And thanks to everybody watching on the replay and everyone watching and commenting here today on Main Event Mike. I'll be back again next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network on Roku and Fire Stick. This is the first place to find all the latest NFL news, trades, and rumors. If you have a Roku or Fire Stick, access your menu and locate the search bar to perform a channel search. Then simply type in Huddle Sports Network. After completing the search, this logo should appear. Then add to your menu and you're good to go. We cover all your football needs from breaking news to trades and rumors.
Ken and Ken in the morning, 10 to 11. Wake your mind up, this the sports heaven. Next up is Lines Talk with Jeremy B. 11.